G'day, good afternoon, good evening, whichever it happens to be, and welcome to Trainz 1.3, a game that I originally had videos on this channel, well, to put it this way, 15 years ago, because today, being September the 19th, 2021, marks 15 years since I decided that Google Video was not going to be the future and made a YouTube channel, of which I posted that train crash video. Now, I don't believe I posted it on the very first day, but I did post it, you know, relatively recent to that point. Now, if you don't know, Trainz 1.3 came out in 2001, with 2002 being roughly when this particular version of the game came out, more or less. This being, yeah, the 1.3 service pack, the service pack edition. Now, this is actually installed via the CD. I had to set up my CD player to get it to work with this. Also, CD player, the CDR type thing. You know what I mean. Anyway, I had to basically get that working so that I could get this to show. Now, it's not, you know, amazing at all, but it was a little bit of a hassle just to get it to work in the first place. Because, well, surprise, surprise, you know, it's a game that came out a very long time ago, and because of that, it doesn't really want to work properly on modern systems. Now, I mean, I installed it just fine. I mean, it let me install it just fine just by running the CD. But yeah, so this one, I'm looking at the box right now. This was the Big Bites edition, if anyone remembers those, by Red Ant. If you're in Australia, you might remember them. But yeah, so they came out with that, and I can read the system requirements. It shows you how far we've come with computers in this time. So it says in the system requirements you need a 400 MHz Pentium 2 running Windows 98 2000 ME or XP with a NVIDIA TNT2 16MB video card and needing 128 MB of RAM as a minimum. Now, I don't know about you, but I think my modern system can handle these settings pretty well. Now, I mean, for example, I think my RTX 3080 has more than the 12 megabytes of video card memory that this game suggests is a minimum requirement. And, you know, 5 gigahertz of CPU, a bit faster than 400, and then, yeah, 32 gig of RAM, a little bit more than 128 megabytes. So I think we'll be fine. But aside from that, I'm having to run my desktop in a little screen because, well, I can either run this in full screen and then my second monitor becomes completely useless, or I have to run it in windowed where the resolution is fixed at 800 by 600 and I've not been able to change that. I tried altering the config files and it just didn't really want to work. So my main PC is running on a much smaller window than normal just so I can actually see this thing in a way that means I don't have to squint at the screen. Now, I played this game a hell of a lot as a kid. It was one of the few games. I mean, the box even still has the sticker on it. I paid $10 for this back in 2002, I think it was, when I bought it. So, I paid a lot of money, as you can guess. I don't even know what that'd be now. And I don't know about you, but because I'm so familiar with this, it's always interesting to see where things have gone in this time. Now, you'll remember in the train crash videos, I just used random stuff from in here. I've learned a bit more about trains since then, but it's also interesting to sort of go back and see, where the series came from. Because the Trainz as a series has come quite a way since then. They're on Trainz 2019 at the moment, and it still, amusingly, has a bunch of things that you can associate back to this era. Granted, the assets are not the same, for the most part, or you'd hope so, but the whole general idea, like this as being the collection window, you have the driver, for where you operate the train, and the surveyor where you build routes, that is all still pretty much the same. This UI, of course, isn't the same, but, yeah, what can you do, eh? But, so let's get out of my collection and let's go to driver, which was the area I spent most of my time. And, so what do I want to do? Now, it automatically defaults with this HST set. And I think I might want to use that. I think, anyway. Or, do we want to make a new one? Let's just make a new one. So, it's pretty simple. Imple, I was going to say. That's not language. So, let's just go... I don't know, what do I want? We have some Victorian Railways locomotive, or we have an S-Class, but we don't really have the cars. I suppose we got these we could chuck on it, so... Sure, let's just grab the S-Class Blue. Now, if I remember, right-clicking, yep, lets me flip them around. Do I want to change numbering? I suppose I could have done that, couldn't I? Because, yeah, you can set the numbers you got. So, yeah, let's do that actually first. So, let's have 301 and 307. Because I remember that being a thing. And then for the cars, I don't know, let's just grab some of each, because why not? Have a sleeper in there, and then club car. Why not? Now, terrain window. This was the one I always had a problem with, because you can't really tell where is the starts of all these. Like, you've got, like, this system remained in Trainz for so long, but these trap marks, it's so difficult to work out where they are. Like, you can sort of zoom in and you'll see the trap, but there's no information on them. You just click on it and that tells you that's where you're going, and you can choose a starting point. Same with all of them, so it's like, I don't know. It's difficult to work out what you're looking at here. So let's just pick this one. And then settings, what settings do we want? I'll leave it on the DCC initially. I think this is all just the default it came with. Yeah, that'll be fine. Let's just hit go. And let's jump right into it. So, yep. You get the nice little status over on the right here. And, yeah, it's actually, surprisingly, doesn't look as bad as I would have first thought. You got all these options to sort of change between the trains or the junctions, so you can, change them. That sound effect has been in the game so damn long. You got turntable cameras for if there's turntables, which I guess this route does have some. Yeah, it has some actually. And then, yeah, that just hides information. So let's just go back to our train. We've got an internal view, which is, well, it's an internal view. Not much special to speak of. But, I mean, if I turned on the cab controls, you can use them. Because I'm in DCC, it doesn't actually let you do that. So, I have these options, but I can't use anything with them because I had told it I want to use the controller. Because, unlike maybe later ones, this one was very much the idea of being a model railway. And as a result, that's why you have the DCC, the Digital Command Control Dial, which I don't know why they could call it dial. I suppose you can get units that are like that. And then you've got your buttons that you would press to operate functions on the locomotive. So you can turn your headlight on and off, or pantographs if you had them, which we don't. You've got a horn, and then just an emergency stop button. which I remember as a kid using a lot. Now, of course, in those videos I made, I didn't use it a lot, but we did. Down here, you can choose different consists. If you've made multiple, you can show and hide your window. That brings up the decoupling. Again, exactly the same system that they still use for decoupling. And then the map, which, yeah, you could sort of see where you are and try and work out what you're doing. Now, it's also very obvious from the map that, you know, what I was saying about it being more of a model railway than a train simulator. Well, you can see that. This is basically just a model train layout. But let's get going, shall we? Now, I can use, as you can see, the greater than, less than symbols. Or I can just use the mouse. Because I remember our first computer mouse was not very good, so I tended to use those keys more often. Is that? Look, there's a rainbow there. That's interesting. I don't know if you will even be able to see that, but there is one there. The ground scatter's a little bit bare, you could say. Now, I don't remember the exact details of the computer I had back at this time. I remember it was a HP Pavilion of some sort or another, running Windows XP. And I remember it didn't run the game very well initially. I had to go into the game files and really turn down settings to make the game run well. Whereas now, of course, there's no problem. Game runs nicely now. You should hope so now that it's, you know, 20 years old, almost. I think this version came out in like November of 2001, so yeah, even when I was playing the game and first posting videos of it on YouTube, it was a 5-year-old game. And not much has changed since then. I just try and drive trains a bit more reliably now, shall we say. Let's just go up a little bit. I always had difficulty working out what amount you had to turn this to get your speed going. It's not exactly very obvious. Those trees look a little bit blurry, but they're fine. Oh, and this looks like we're coming up on something, so let's slow down. Oh, okay, you slow down really quickly. I forgot that. Now, of course, unless you're familiar with the route and the map, you have no idea where you're going, so I just sort of let it take me in the default directions initially, and then we'll see how things go from there. Let's go different view. Let's go tracking view. Oh yeah, that's right. Tracking view only worked if you had a set fixed camera on the map, like that. Thank you, game, for timing that as if I'd actually planned it. So, yeah, you couldn't actually see from any other view unless you specifically put one in the map to do so. Now, I never actually downloaded anything for this game back in the day. They had the first class system, which they still use, that allows you to download stuff to add to the game. I just never did it because, well, you know, who downloaded things back in the early 2000s? It took forever, so you had to really make sure it was something you wanted before you did so. Now, it's funny seeing all this stuff again, because I'm really remembering it now. I remember this little station because so many times I went flying into this into the buffers at the end because I didn't slow down quick enough. It's weird, in a way, I think, to look back at a game that you played a lot as a kid. And, yep, I can't remember what it did in tunnels. I'm pretty sure it cut you into an interior view. Yes, it does. Because rather than try and figure out how to show things outside, it goes, nah, we're putting you in. Let's go full speed now, why not? Very simple tunnel. Signal light, just flipping through. Because that's logic, I guess. And yeah, so we can see there's a little bit of a difference in how things look. Now, I don't actually have a newer version of Trainz installed. I was going to do so and have like a nice little comparison between, you know, old and new. But I forgot to download it, so that's not going to happen today. That'll have to happen in a future video, I think. So in the meantime, we'll just see how nicely we can go around here. I have no idea where we're going. We're just going wherever the default points are set. We're doing a bit over double the speed limit, so it's fine. We've got the overland with us. We've really got to get to Adelaide, or we're trying to escape Adelaide. Probably escape, I would say, is the more realistic option here. And yeah, when you used to derail, the train didn't just stop and say X or derailed. It actually flung the carriages around. I don't know why it's randomly spinning there and clipping through a tree. But yes, when trains derailed, they used to, you know, actually derail. Which is something they don't do anymore, and I kind of get disappointed because that was part of the fun as a kid, was throwing trains off the tracks and seeing in what spectacular wreck they would happen. So, yeah, that's that part. We'll get out of the driver. I remember this window a lot too. Yeah, so you can just change things constantly. So if we clear that consist again, let's do one of the other routes. Now, the one I remember doing a lot of was the sort of starting one, but I'm going to put something different on there. So let's just go Milwaukee stuff. Why not? I like them. And then what do we want to chuck behind it? Don't know what we should chuck behind it because I don't believe they actually added any ones, or if they do, I don't know what they'd be called. We got Indian Pacific stuff there. So there's a good amount of Aussie content, which for a game that was originally by Aussie developers kind of makes sense. The Red Hen, I remember using those a hell of a lot. We just want to chuck something on the back here. Let's just put some Pennsylvania boxcars, why not? And then we'll go to Highland Valley. That was the route that I used to like a lot. I don't know why I like this route, but I remember it a lot. Oops, I'm not used to... I'm keep trying to scroll to the left or the right by moving and dragging the mouse, but it actually goes in the opposite direction to what I would have thought. A little bit unusual. Nice quick loading time. And I was going to change the cab controls, but I forgot, so here we are. Now, yes, this was the place I pretty much always started because it was the only one I really remembered where stuff was. Like, you know, you had this, like, little station platform which you could park up because I usually drove passenger trains more than freight. I don't know why. It's just something I always did. Now, I don't actually know where this route was set at all. I just remember using this route a lot. Let's actually slow up so we can fix these turnouts to be what we want. There we go. Now, there is actually a turntable, so why not use that? We'll, pretend we're doing a bit of shunting for some reason and not that the train just spontaneously appeared in this particular location. So, we'll, move forward. And we'll let our train clear the points. I can't remember. Can you switch? Yes, you can switch views just by clicking on them. I've always tried to remember this sort of thing when you go back and play an old game. Can you do the stuff that you remember doing in the new games, or was that not a thing yet? We'll stop there. Actually, we'll just hit stop. And now we'll change that. We will put this in that road there. Why not? Let's bring it forward. Bring ourselves back to the front. Now, if I remember right, every locomotive had basically the same sounds in this game. I think that was one of the things I tried downloading as a kid, was like a replacement sound thing for one of the locomotives. But I don't actually remember if it was successful or not. So, I think it was, but maybe it wasn't. I don't know. That's the sort of constructive information you're getting from me here. Where really I just felt like, ooh, bit of Z fighting there. Just felt like mucking around with an old game. And just yabbering on about nonsense, really. That's what it comes down to. So we'll bring ourselves in. I could have gone faster, but whatever. This is fine. And we'll just let it clear the points a little bit. Stop. Well, like I said, this isn't really how I played the game a lot as a kid. How I played the game a lot was how you saw in those videos I made 15 years ago of just crushing trains into stuff, or making stupid layouts for trains and then not really ever getting around to driving on them. Because that's the thing I did a lot with Trainz, this game, and the later games, was I would make very fancy routes and then just never drive anything on them. Shall we use the turntable? There's a turntable right there, so why not? Yes, I always get the direction they're telling wrong. That's the way we want. There you go, draw that track, thank you. Now we will go onto it. And we will bring ourselves around. We switch to internal now. Oops. Now I can't remember, can you change these? There was a way to change these from inside, but I don't remember what it is. Spacebar opens and closes that. Yeah, I really don't remember. So outside it is. Let's drive forward onto the turntable and turn ourselves around. There was no steam trains in this version of the game. That was a thing I always remembered. I always wanted a steam train, but they didn't have them. I think they had them in the next version of the game, because after this I think it was, what? They had like another version after this. It was basically the same engine, but improved a little. And then 2004, I think, was the next one after that. And then after 2004, you had, what, 2006, which was going on for ages. And then eventually you got to Trainz 12, which is the one I remember mucking around a lot in. And then, yeah, stuff went from there to Trainz A New Era, and then what they're up to now. So, I can't see bugger all behind me, and I got no mirrors, so am I on the turntable? Yes, I am. Let's turn ourselves around. It's interesting how the track doesn't exist on the turntable. I'm guessing that's just how it works. As you can see, it draws the track when it makes a link so that we don't derail at the join. I'm guessing that's what it's doing. It's hard to really say, but I think so anyway. Nice squeaky turntable. It's also a really big turntable when you see this locomotive on it. Of course, because there's all these roads, we have to manually turn through every single one until we get the one we want. There we go. Now we want to go ahead. And we want to go past our train and connect to the other side, just because we could. I like that gauge, it's just dancing. Not really doing anything. And I can't zoom in. I don't think you could zoom in this game, so I can't read what these gauges actually say. I could read this one. This one tells our speed. But what's that? Amperage there, but that one doesn't seem to work. And all the others aren't legible. There's these two here, but I don't know what they're doing. So yeah, this is a lot of amazing detail for all this. But then again, like I said, it's a game from 20 years ago. What can you expect? I like that little animation though. Now, I really should have changed to have all this stuff on, but no matter, we will do that later. Oh, silos in our way. What's that? Bag in silo? Solo? I don't know, something like that. Now, we want to get on that road, so we will turn this way, turn that way, and then that one. Oops, that one, that's the right one. We will come around, slow ourselves down with our very quick slowing down trains. It was this one, wasn't it? Yes, there's our carriages down there. Oh, boxcars, not carriages. Same thing. There we go, we changed that one around, so now we can go back that way, and we shall couple up to it. And then from there, I don't know, we'll go wherever the track takes us. We'll have a look a bit around Highland Valley. See how things run. Now apparently the game says I'm getting like 92 FPS, 93 at the top. The window, you can't resize it if you force it to run in window mode, and you can't reposition it. So I just hit this nice detail saying I'm running the Jet, and then in brackets DirectX version of the Jet engine that they ran Trainz on, and then yeah, just what it's actually performing at. So that's interesting to see. Because yeah, the being able to do stuff with games is fairly recent in terms of much more customization. I just remember fighting the settings to try and make it work, which I didn't have to do as much fighting to get it working today, so that's a good thing. Because I was planning on actually seeing, you know, maybe I have to run it in like a virtual machine for XP or so, but no, it just works. I didn't need to do any of that. Let's couple ourselves up. And bam. We are coupled. Let's go forwards and figure out where our destiny lies. And hope that the turnouts are in the right directions for where we're going. Because we're certainly going somewhere. Also, this map was like always raining. Like I seem to remember always this map it would rain. Union Station, I use that asset a lot on building routes because it came up when you search for station. It's as simple as that. Look at all those buildings. See, like nowadays you have all like functioning industries and that, whereas these are pretty much all static from memory. Yep, we'll just go this way. I kind of like these tracking cameras though. Like, they're aesthetically pleasing if you ask me. Also, I just realised we're massively speedy. So let's slow down a little bit. Yeah, yes, I always remember that the lights that show through terrain as well. That was, see, like, and through your train itself, which is interesting. Like that signal there. Pretty sure that's not how it's meant to work, but that's how it seemed to work. Someone put a tree in the way of that camera. They shouldn't have done that. Now, if I look on the map, got this nice green line, there's us, so our track goes around here, up round here to something there. Okay, so we've got a bit of a journey before we actually have to worry about doing anything again. That's not too bad. So we'll just watch the train cinematically go round. slightly breaking the speed limit, but not insanely breaking the speed limit. I always remember trying to make nice things like this, but I never had the patience. Because it took so long, and, you know, as a kid, you only had, like, I remember having only like an hour or so a day to play games. So I would try and do whatever I could that didn't take too long. And doing all this sort of stuff just took a long time to do something that looked nice. Or at least it seemed to take a long time back then. I mean, I imagine, you know, when I was building routes in Trainz 12 doing this sort of stuff, you know, this level was quick and easy. It was doing the finer detail stuff that you could do in the later games that made it more time consuming. Look at that light effect go. Man. And yeah, I think it's going nighttime because I have the time, because you could set in the settings how quickly the time changes. Yeah, there is a nice rainbow there too. But yeah, see, we went under there before, now we're going over the top. But yeah, I'm pretty sure you can set how the weather changes and how quickly, you know, it goes from day to night. I pretty much always had it going on fast because then it makes it look like you're traveling further. Let's see, where are we going now? I don't know, but we're going the wrong way on this bit of track. Oops. It's a station. Let's slow down. What's that say? Robbins? Oh, there's a T-posing dude there. Let's leave a wagon in here. I could go maybe. I like how there's just a single carriage sound. And that's the one you're hearing. And that will just play no matter what speed you're doing. Yes, and you can just click on the carriage from here. Useful. So let's set that one, and we will reverse in. And we will dump something here. Yeah, literally, you just played this like a model railway, and it was fun. There was no multiplayer or anything, not back then. But you didn't need it either, or at least I never felt like I needed it. Because it always was fun just to muck around and, you know, do stuff that you couldn't really do in many other games at the time. It's those, what's it, baggin solo? I can't read that. What's that say? I think it's baggin solo. Close enough. Yep, we're going into night time. Look at all those signal lights clipping through the ground. Nice invisible view. Let's just leave this wagon here. So we'll stop. Bam. Decouple. Like so. And now let's get out of here. Yeah, the headlights are quite effective. They light up a lot of area ahead of you, which is nice. There's a lot of games sort of struggled with lights. Like they either weren't bright enough or they were supernovas. These look like supernovas from a distance, but at least they're actually illuminating stuff. Oh, Consist 1 derailed, so did it? It rolled off the end. Okay. The buffers did an amazing job at stopping that one. But whatever. We don't need to worry about that. It's not our problem to solve. We dropped it off, getting it back on the tracks, that's your problem. Now let's get a bit of speed on again. Now, I remember when I first played, what was it, Dovetail's Train Simulator. Like, the biggest change from that compared to these old Trainz ones I was used to was the fact that it had a UI that was about, you know, showing how your distance was from the next station and that. Now, that was always the experience I had. Train Simulator, now Train Sim World, always seemed to be the prettier game. It had, like, the better visuals and was maybe slightly more fun to drive in a cab interior and just drive on routes in general. But building routes in that one was such a pain in the ass, to where that's why I always kept Trainz installed, because Trainz was fun just to build routes. Didn't ever do a lot with them, but it was nice to just build them and, you know, see what you could do. I'm guessing there must be a line up there, because magical floating red orb. Ooh, spooky. Yes. Ooh. We can go a little bit quicker, so we shall. But yeah, it's always interesting to see just what has changed. Like, I remember this interior sat around for so long too. Like in later versions of the game, you could still find it. That sounds a bit loud in here. Ooh, blinding. Blinding light, whatever, how that song goes. We're speeding a little now, so we'll slow. Oh, no, we're not. Speed limit changed. It got dark quick. Oh, and it really slowed down there, so let's drop our speed down too. I think that rain ambient sound is still in the newer versions of the game. Can't say for absolute sure, but I have a feeling it is still there. Now, wherever this place is, Stormont. But no, it's interesting to see. Should I try maybe and make something in Surveyor while we're here? I think maybe we should, just so we can, you know, have a look at that mode a little bit, because that's the mode I remember most. Let's just go full speed again and see where we derail and in what fashion we derail. You didn't derail as easily in this game. Or at least I've never found it that you derailed that easily, but when you did, it was more spectacular than in later versions. Odlum, good name. That's a nice Y there. Yeah, see, there'd be random red markers here saying where you'd start. I have no idea where they would be. That doesn't matter now, does it? Why not? Yeah. Oh. Oh yeah, up the hill. Drifted bank around the corner. It's actually impressive how the lighting works away from the truck. I guess they actually have it as a semi-dynamic lighting object. That's cool. Because lighting was expensive in games back in the day. How is that one perched so nicely up here? Oh, and another one at the back. I'm impressed that they did as well as they did. Now, I think it was on this route actually that I had that Santa Fe disaster video filmed on. I don't remember, but I think It was this one. Anyway, let's close that. Let's get out a driver and go into surveyor, where we shall create a new map. Yes, that's fine. You got the different regions. You got Australia, Britain, or USA. We'll go Australia. Work in real scale, metric. And this is basically exactly the same as it still is. Right down to the, I think, almost identical compass rose. So you have all your options. So you can build your topology. You change your radius. And, I don't know, let's just make some hills. Whoa, that's really fast. I need to, like, whack down my mouse sensitivity a little bit, I think. But yeah, you can just sort of add landscape. I wish doing in model railways that this was as easy as this. To just add. Because it's always difficult to try and do anything nice. At least I find it difficult. Yeah, that's really sensitive actually. Let's just add a little bit of... Yeah, because I was always into sort of building type games. Because we had Sims 1 and that I spent a lot of time in that game. I was never very good. I mean, I played that game just as a house simulator basically. You know, who played The Sims to actually play with The Sims? You played The Sims to build some giant mansion or some dream house, you know, which as a kid you had a swimming pool because everybody wanted a swimming pool. And then, of course, you would drown the Sims in it later on, but, you know, that wasn't the point. The point was you wanted a swimming pool, so you made one. And then, yeah. That was what you did. Let's just adjust the height. Make that actually fit the terrain we want it in, and there we go. It's looks like I need to add some more water there. Or no, it's like, nah, you don't want that. Okay, you're right, game. I don't want that. Because we said Australia, we got all these options. So Oz Forest Floor, Oz Forest Darker. I think a lot of these were still in the game last I looked. Let's just do gravel. Let's just do small scale. And we'll zoom out. How much radius do you want? That'll be fine. And then you just, you know, paint it. Again, something I wish in the model railway form would be as quick and easy as it was here. Now, that because I didn't have a layout as a kid, it was too expensive for one to get the stuff, and I didn't have the room, I just had like a train set. I would spend ages making little model railway layouts in this just to see, you know, try ideas or, you know, the dream layout that one day I would be able to make. And now I am actually making a layout, and it's, you know, not anything like the ones I made as a kid. Well, for one, because, you know, actually making one in reality is a lot harder than just doing it in a game. But yeah, you know, that doesn't matter. That is really fast. Oh, I suppose because it's a small screen that I'm actually playing this in, that doesn't help. And then we'll have... what do we want? Whoops. On the banks. Let's just have... yeah, red dirt. Why not? I don't know what I'm making. I'm just making something. Oh, yes, I remember the texture scale was a thing you had to deal with. Which, if I remember right, you could, like, rotate it and that would help break it up a little. To make it look slightly less repetitive. Because we just want to cover up that baseboard. And I will get to building trains on this eventually. At the moment, I'm just kind of doing it as scenery. And we'll add a little bit of that. Oops. Forgot there's not really an easy way to blend textures back in this day. It's sort of all one or another. You don't really get a nice subtle blending. Mouse is really getting on my nerves. Let's just add. Ah, bugger. Oh yes, you can use the arrow keys to rotate the camera around a little bit. Also notice how it's like incredibly silent in this mode. There's like no sound at all. Do we want... Yes, let's just add some shrubs. Good bit of shrubbery. Everyone likes some shrubbery. And we'll just do that over these hills that we have so carefully created. Like so. Oh, there's a spot there. Yeah, what was it? If you... I'm trying to remember now what the hotkey was for rotating stuff. I don't know. Brackets, you say? Is it? No, or slash. You're not changing it with slash. But yeah, because you'd like rotate it and then you would get a bit of variety so it wasn't all the same direction. So then you didn't notice the patterns quite so much. So yeah, something like that, I don't know. And then we'll make that bit a bit sandy. Because we can. Really. You're not going to see it, it's behind hills. Frantic clicking ensues. And there we go. That is our terrible, terrible terrain. Yeah, let's add random splotches of sand. There we go. That's the beach. That bit there. Okay, so that's our terrain. Now you can add objects. Now, are these gonna work? Because they don't look like they're displaying properly. Oh yeah, they are. They're just not displaying properly in that little window. Yeah, that's right. Because I remember you could get object, and that would allow you to grab that. You can delete by hitting D. Like again, a lot of these keys have pretty much stayed the same. So if I want to hit that, I can just keep spamming them. But interestingly, I can't actually see what way it's facing until you place it. You sort of then have to rotate it manually. Which is a little bit annoying. You sort of have to guess what you're doing. Let's actually... What do we want to do? Road Oz. Let's just add a road. Oh, which has already got traffic on it. Yeah, I want that there. And I'll just have this road come around following our little river. Like so. I'm not being particularly careful, I'm just placing it. It does whatever. You get the idea of what a road looks like. Like that. Now, we need bridges. Do we have a bridge? Or can I just draw across? I could, but that doesn't look right. What have we got? Default. Let's go. Oh, Queensland has its own separate category. Okay. But I don't need specifically Queensland. I just want a bridge. steel road bridge like that. There we go. There's our bridge. Now can we have our road again? We will connect. Oh, I must have put that in an awkward spot. Yes, I've put that right on a bank. Haven't I? Yes, I did. So we will build our road to connect to that road. And advanced, we want to smooth that out like so. That's a weird junction, but I'm going to leave it. And then we will just build this. Say this road just goes, I don't know, somewhere off that way. There we go. Now, this is not a very high bridge, is it? It does the trick. Now, what else do we need? We should probably build some track. 4 meter standard, Oz double. Yeah, we'll do some double track. Why not? So we will have our train come from here. And it will come into town, cross the river, and then head out again. That's what we'll do. With me being very careful with my track work, as you can tell. We will cross the road. There. Can't remember how the crossings work in this version. Like if it'll just work or if we have to manually add them. I think we had to manually add them. Actually, yes, we did have to manually add them because it just stops them. So if we went there... was it in this one? No, that was our signals and our speeds. It must have been in here somewhere. I don't know. I remember you had to manually add them, but whatever. I don't really care. I'm just building for the sake of building something. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. That did not connect the way I wanted to. I think you had to add... Woo, I don't know what I'm doing. Another spline point for it to work. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, you get the idea. You sort of just place things down like that. And then you can sort of get to wherever you want. Now, to start, you have to add a track mark. So we will add a track mark there. And then, I don't know, we'll just add a corner store just randomly there. And next to it, we will have a horse. And next to that horse, we will have this hotel. Yes, I remember using this asset a lot because it looked cool. We will have that there, sinking into the ground, but never mind. Also, it's kind of on the tracks. So we'll have it like that. Hey, the horse is neighing at us. I don't know why I'm putting the buildings where there isn't a road. You just sort of make grand leaps to get to these places, I guess. Let's add, I don't know, this, because this area totally looks out like it. Let's add lots of sugarcane. Oh, I didn't want to join it to it. I just wanted it to put next to it. Nope. Nope. Undo. Undo. I don't want that. I don't want them to join game. There we go. 2 random bits of sugarcane. I don't know. I keep going to use the mouse wheel to scroll in these menus, but it doesn't work. Let's have people group 2. Here, and here, and here, and here, and here. And they're reckless, so this group are on the road. And then... sheep flock. Yes, I used to use that one a lot. All the sheep have gone to the hotel. So we'll have lots of sheep. It's not an obnoxious sound at all. And these people can actually be school kids because we'll have the school right there. You know, right across from the pub. Because why don't you want your school next to the pub? And these sheep have broken out. They should be in these pens, but they refuse. They're rebellious. So I'll put them there. I don't know what sort of place this is. And then next to the school, we will actually have some shops as well. Sheep. And then let's just add signal. And then, yeah, signal. They're not going to do anything, but they're there. And now we can change from being medium clouds to Queensland sky, which is the one I always used to use. Our water can be water muddy, I guess. And then, yeah, we'll just leave it like that. You can bookmark locations. I don't remember ever doing that. You can change your window size there. I don't remember doing that either. Now, what do we want to do? Performance tuning. No, let's just save. New map. Brilliant. Now, if we quit, new map marked with a C means we can play with it. If we go to driver and we pick, I don't know, where were those red hens? Because I mentioned I always used to use those. No search function, so you just have to find it. So we will have a red hen on new map with the one trap marker we added. Cabin, because why not? And that will be fine. And there you go. But now we are on just a little bit of a grade next to our pub with all the people standing on the road outside the school. Now I should probably have picked a train I know what it does, because I don't remember these controls in the slightest. That's our brake, it's our train brake, there's our throttle, our reverse, so we want to go forward. Let's get notch 2 on. Let's get the headlight on. That brake's off, so I guess it's this brake that's on. Yes. Oh, and we're rolling backwards. Let's get up this hill. Can we get up this hill? Let's put the brake on. We're kind of going backwards and we don't want to be. I can flip switch 0 or switch 8. I don't know what it does, but I can flip it. Oh yes, that's like an actual pulling thing. Okay, got it. Can we make it up this hill? We're slowing down. Full throttle. We cannot make it up that hill. Yes, we cannot make it up that hill. And that's like inverted, I think. Oh no, it's up and down on the mouse's controller. No. Same with that. So if we reverse ourselves a bit, if we try run up, maybe we can actually make it up this ridiculous track that I have made, that we know we're going to derail on anyway. Let's go. We're not even going to bother with the brakes. Let's just go and see if we can make it up this hill. I'm just hearing the clone voice in my head. Go, go, go. I don't think this is going to work. But we can at least get a little bit of speed. And maybe get somewhere. Yeah, I think it's just slightly too steep. Yes, we can't make it. Yeah. Oops. You're gonna go off the edge. Put the brake on, don't go off the edge. Oh, is it gonna stop? Okay. We're a little close to the edge. I think that's as much of a run-up as we could ever possibly get. Let's, see if we can do it. Release the brakes, let's go. See if we can make it up the hill. This is going to be the only way we can possibly do it. I don't think we can do it, but we'll certainly try and do it. Zooming along as we are. There we go. 35 kilometers an hour as we hit the incline. Can we make it over the hill? Come on. Look at all those sheep. Come on. Come on. Yes. Come on. Yes. We made it. Yeah. Now let's turn that off. We don't need that on anymore. That hill will take us the rest of the way. West of the way? Rest of the way. With whatever this is. Ah, these are even bigger hills. And whatever that is. So yes, if you were actually building track properly, you can do some pretty creative things. Or you do stuff like this, which is what you do in a few minutes and looks absolutely abysmal. But yeah, you can do it. I really should get around to showing a newer version of the game. Maybe I will do that next time. But yeah, I really just wanted to do a little quick something, just, you know, mark 15 years of nonsense on this channel by doing even more nonsense of getting an old game and just seeing how it works or doesn't work. But I think we could say we were successful here. This game does work, and it's still actually, I'm not gonna lie, kind of fun just to mess around with. And I think my train's just gonna disappear into the void now. He's going to fall off the baseboard, shatter onto the ground, and then his parents are going to get really angry at him because they have to go now buy a new model because he broke the expensive one he had. Yep. Good balance. It is a magic floating train. Ain't that fun? They should build more trains out of this stuff. But yes, anyway, I hope you enjoyed just a random little bit of nostalgia, me ranting on about nonsense for an hour. I hope you enjoyed the game, if you remember it at all, or if not, I hope you enjoy seeing where games like this have come from and where they have gone to. If you have been watching my stuff since 2006, then why? Why would you be watching my stuff for that long? I don't know. I haven't even posted a lot in most of that time. But if you have, I'm very grateful you have. And I hope you stick around and see whatever nonsense I do in future, which hopefully won't be as big a pauses between it as they have been recently. But yeah, until next time, I'm Deno. This was Trainz 1.3. Safe driving.